Have your tax dollars been spent wisely to fight COVID-19?
I think it's necessary, not only wise, but necessary. We have a period of time here to go through where a lot of people are losing their livelihoods and they have to be protected for the time that they're out of their work. I think that only makes sense. That's the way life should be for everybody. Everybody should have a roof over their head and meals on the table. And if they don't, I think it behooves the government to take whatever measures are necessary to make sure that people do have those basics of humanity. So
I'm happy that a lot of people are getting helped, but I don't know if it's all the right people. From what I've heard, there's been some people taking advantage of it, and I think that could have been handled better so that the people that really need it get the money.
And I don't know really where my tax dollars are going. It would be nice if there was more information about exactly how it's being used, how it's being distributed. Yeah, it could be better. It could always be better.
I think that probably the largest majority of them probably have been, but of course we hear stories of some of the income replacement programs not really going to the right people or going to people that weren't really entitled to them. Here we heard a story that the people that were 16 or 17 years old were collecting CERB, and that was in the news, wasn't it? And then, they say the government says, well, they'll just collect it later. They're not going to collect that money again. And we realize, of course, this money now it's bad enough to be wasting our tax money, but this is really going to be borrowed money, isn't it? It's coming out of the deficit, which who knows if we'll ever pay back. So, but in total, I would say that I kind of agree that the government, if it doesn't act wisely or it doesn't put a lot of stimulus and take care of our health system, we could end up being into an economic recession, even a depression again. So
I can't really say with much wisdom on the spending in those areas. I feel like there's so many things being misplaced. I wouldn't know where to start if I was the finance minister, but I'd have to get more informed.
There have been some really good initiatives here in BC for helping low-income families out with rental rebates. The CERB thing was extremely beneficial for us as a couple. There have been some very good things. I'm not too sure about how the rest of the population feels. Considering my circumstances, we've been okay.
No, I don't think they spend any of our money wisely, honestly. Again, you hear about the Attorney General and you hear about all this money that, Trudeau has paid out to his own family, or money that has gone to his family, that's, all this conflict of interest. And again, every time I turn around, there's somewhere else our money's going, and it just leaves us standing there with our mouth hanging open, and, but they seem to get away with it. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. So, and I think the Trudeau government has become kind of arrogant about it. They just feel like there's no, there's nothing coming from it. People know their money's going, where it shouldn't, but what do we do? What do we do as Canadian taxpayers? We entrust our money to them, and again and again and again you see in the news that it's where it shouldn't be going.
To be honest, I think that the money that's been spent on COVID-19, we could have used that money in other areas. Primarily, our youth is being affected adversely to the way that we're protecting all of our older generations with this pandemic. I think that we could have used our money a little bit wiser there.
I feel like it has up to this point where the vaccine is not getting rolled out evenly to all countries, especially Canada, which bought the justified amount for our citizens.
Yeah, I feel like actually that the government really stepped up, and I would be someone that would typically say no, but I feel like they made us feel safe during this time.
That's a tough question to say because I barely know where it goes to begin with, but I think that things like the CERB were a good first start. I honestly think that more of them could go towards certain things. I wouldn't mind paying a little bit more in taxes if I knew that my sister or my friend was going to be okay at the end of this pandemic.
Darned if I know. I really don't know. I figured they know more about money than I do. I just live on my pension and I'm happy.
Well, from what I've read and understood, I would say in some cases it probably has been spent wisely, but there's some cases, for example, I'm sure everybody's aware of our CERB program. It's been terribly abused, and I know personally of cases that received thousands of dollars from CERB when they were not entitled to it.
Again, I don't really know enough about it, but I would say they're responding the best way that they possibly can. I mean, what else can they do? They're spending it on PPE and, you know, they're keeping people safe as much as they possibly can. But I would say yes. Yeah. They're doing the best they can.
Yeah. I mean, my kids' kids are going to be paying for it. But it's what we needed and no other choice.
That's a great question. I would love to know. I would love to know if that's true. Unfortunately, as a common citizen, I think it's pretty impossible to tell. We just kind of have to hope for the best and watch it all come out in the wash. I'm personally glad that CERB has been put in place. I mean, as a musician and then starting into part-time work, right? I don't know what I would have done without it, so I'm very appreciative for that. And I think there's a lot of citizens that their lives were literally saved by having access to money to pay for their food. So I think that that's a great expenditure on the part of the federal government. But other than that, I don't know where all the money's going. I don't know what's happening. I'd love to see the books.